The moment you start something new, there's going to be a rush of excitement and anxiety. You're going to be excited because you're thinking of all of the ways that hitting this goal is going to change your life, but you'll also feel anxious because you know that there's a possibility that you could be wrong, and that's normal. But the real problem is when the anxiety begins to outweigh the feeling of excitement and our brain starts to look for an exit strategy. And it doesn't always happen right away, because in the moment, everything is so fresh that we really can't imagine the concept of failure so early on. We're so focused on the end game that we're blind to the challenges that we really haven't considered. But after we've checked off a couple of boxes and the unexpected starts to happen, those doubts begin to creep into your mind and the motivation begins to fade. We start to second guess ourselves about why we started in the first place, and the excuses about why we're too busy tend to become the norm. Instead of figuring out a way around the new roadblocks, we reinforce them with negative thoughts and we justify why the doubts are the right feeling to be had. And in moments like this, you have a very small window to reignite that feeling that you felt on the first day, because if you don't, there's a good chance that this new idea will join your old ideas and that notebook full of $1 million plans. And this doesn't just apply to business. It's that guitar sitting in the corner of your room, the gym membership that you pay for but never use, and any goal that we let slip away as soon as the work becomes boring or too difficult. And we've all been there. But when this happens, you really have to focus on remembering why you started in the first place. Your why should be something that's unshakable because you need it to keep going when you feel like the progress isn't enough. When it feels like you're better off moving on to the next idea, it should act like a compass to get you back on track so every step that you've already taken doesn't seem like a waste. And in my case, I know that I want to become a better writer, a better speaker, and a better artist, and eventually have a career using all of these skills. So I've decided to use YouTube as my outlet to grow in all of these areas. And knowing that I can leave behind some inspiration and advice for my kids to see one day just gives me another reason to keep going. And as you can tell, your why doesn't have to be a singular reason. It can and should be something like a web of reasons to provide a stronger foundation. The more you have, the easier it'll be for you to push through when things get tough. If I woke up one day and decided to quit posting YouTube videos and practicing my art, then I know that I've given up on more than just my future self. And that's how you should feel whenever you decide to quit on the next thing that you start. If it's something that you really want, then you already have all of the motivation that you'll ever need, and you should just keep adding to it. Something else that you should think about is prioritizing the small wins over the perfect start, because a perfect start doesn't exist, and there is no such thing as executing a plan flawlessly. To be honest, there's always going to be something that you can't account for, and that's why you shouldn't put too much thought into it to begin with. Create a simple plan, a solid foundation with your web of why, and make it happen. With every small win, even if it's just practicing whatever for about 15 minutes a day, you gain a little more confidence, and that confidence gives you the motivation to push past those doubts. That's how you get past the negative thoughts of, this isn't worth it anymore. Because trust me, it will happen and no one else can help you better than you can help yourself. It doesn't matter how many kind words your friends and family give you. If you've already started doubting your plans, then you've already come up with counter arguments for whatever they tell you anyways. Of course, you want a circle of support and it does help, but there's no guarantee that you'll have that when the anxiety kicks in. And with all of that being said, you now have a blueprint. You know how to build your foundation and you know how to stack the small wins. Make it a point to finish anything that you start, and if you start to lose that motivation, come back to this video. Because like I've said before, being a big talker and a small mover isn't the name that you want to have for yourself. The motivation you get from others having faith in you is just as important as your own self-motivation. And if your friends and family stop believing in you, it's going to be much harder for you to overcome that feeling. You're probably going to feel like it's jealousy, when in reality, it's your lack of movement that's the real problem. You don't believe in yourself enough to finish what you start, so why should anyone else? If you made it to the end of this video, then you're already on the right path, and you've already decided that you won't be giving up anymore. This isn't going to solve all of your problems when it comes to hitting that wall, but it will help. You should be constantly refining everything from this video and tailoring it to your life. And let this be a wake-up call, because it won't always be easy, but it'll always be worth it.